people. Man, I've really had a desire to upload stuff for you guys, but I have had like some unreal craziness going on. I'm actually riding the BMW to work today, which I don't ever do, primarily because I work in a environment where I have to look a certain way and act a certain way, and not that I mind that at all. Helmet, hair, all that kind of stuff. So I normally drive my truck to work, but I just I gotta tell you guys what's been going on. And every day has been like this in some form or another, with like 100 million different things. So I'm on the BMW heading home from work. It's 7:30 p.m. My first patient arrived at 7 a.m. so I'm up at 5:30. And a normal day for a full-time clinician with what I do, 12-hour day is about 20 patients, and I saw 30 today, which there's a lot of. Hey guys, oh, you're looking at that beautiful orange Bavarian Queen, aren't you? Anyway, so last Thursday I decided to take my truck in because I've had on my display it's come up that I have low coolant, and I added coolant previously and it kept coming up low coolant, so I knew I had a leak somewhere, and I thought, you know what, Thursdays are easier days for me. I'll go drop it off, take them a couple days to look at it. They called me back and said, oh, it looks like it's a water pump. The truck only has 70-something thousand miles on it, and so I'm like, oh, that's a little early, but it's covered under your powertrain warranty, so no problem. We just got to order the pump. We'll try to have it by Saturday night, but if the pump doesn't come in, then it's going to be Monday. I'm like, okay, that's fine, no problem. Recently, my daughter, who has driven this little Jeep Cherokee that we've had for probably 15 years, she's been driving that car, and she kind of wanted to buy her own car, and we encouraged her to do that. And so she just recently bought herself a car, really nice little car for her, and so that's left the Cherokee. So I thought, oh, no big deal, I'll drive the Cherokee around. You know, I have to get to work, I do home care, so on those days I have to drive around the valley seeing people in their homes. And so I drove the car to work on, oh geez, I don't know what your deal is, man. So you just cut out right in front of you. That's why you have this GoPro on, so you can have that license plate number. I'm gonna get away from that guy. Anyway, so, whoops, I'm going 90. I go drop the truck off thinking I'm going to be driving this Cherokee around, and long story made short, at the same time, prior to my daughter buying this car, my partner has an old 1994 Toyota 4Runner. And we were going to fix that up for my son. It had a blown head gasket, and we thought, well, we'll do that together and we'll get it fixed, and he'll have a little car for cheap. He's 15, got his learner's permit, good kid, and my life has just been so busy. I've really had to pay attention to my business right now. I neglected it for a few years, doing projects for people and things, and I really had to focus on it. And so my wife said, you know what, you're so busy, let's just take it excuse me, let's just take it to a place and have them replace the head gaskets and get it running. The 4Runner's been sitting for 10 years. And actually I have some history with that because I helped my partner rebuild the engine when he had taken it to a place to have the oil changed, and they didn't replace the they didn't put oil back in it, and that car ran for almost a month of city driving before it burned up. He threw a rod, and we rebuilt the engine. It ran great for 70,000 miles, and then the head gasket went on it, which is common on those cars. So he just never got around to it, and he just sat, and so I ended up buying it from him for inexpensive. So he thought, oh, we'll fix it up. My wife says, no, let's just take it someplace. I don't mind paying the money. I said, okay. So we took it up to a guy up in Layton who's done some work for me, and so he's got this car, he's working on it. Now my truck's in the shop and it's getting worked on. And my daughter and my son went out driving, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before, and they come back and my daughter says, oh, the check engine light's on the Cherokee. I go, oh crap, well, we had family stuff and all kinds of obligations yesterday, and so I didn't get a chance to look at it till 8:30 last night, and the check engine light said cam position sensor. I'm like, oh, that's no big deal, I can change that in a hurry. But it's 8:30 at night. I have to get to bed early because I've got a full day in the clinic. So I go to bed and I realize I don't have a car to drive to work because I have to leave one car home for my wife who's attending my granddaughter. So I break out the BMW to take it to work. Well, now I find out today that not only is my water pump leaking in my truck that's covered by my warranty, he calls me and says, well, looks like you've got a small leak in your radiator too, but that's not covered under your powertrain warranty. That's going to be $1,000. I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to do that. And but he says, but we'll do it to you for a deal because it's already out because of your water pump, and it won't take us much just to switch it out. And I says, man, this happened once before in this truck. And he looked it up, and sure enough, it happened at 37,000 miles. I had a radiator leak. Hey Darwin, how are you? Good. Sorry, I'm actually on my motorcycle heading home because I'm carless. But, well, that's what I was planning, but now my wife's saying, oh, because for some reason, I don't know why, but all the banks are closed today, or our bank is. She's been to 2 different banks to get cash, and they're not open, but she's saying, oh, we'll just pay the extra $30 and go pick it up tonight anyway. So my question for you is, I'm on my way home now, and then I have to run down to pick up my truck that's finished tonight, and I've got to take it home and then run up to you. Is that an option, or is that too late? I'm hoping 9 o'clock. Okay, I think I have your address still. I couldn't find it if I wanted to, but I think I have the address still. If not, I'll just call you, okay? So let's still plan tonight, and I'll just give you my card number when we get there. Is that okay? Okay. Well, I'm glad that you called in. I'm surprised. I've got my phone hooked up to my headset, and I'm riding my motorcycle, so otherwise I'd have missed it. Okay. So we'll see you tonight. If something goes south really bad and it's going to be late, I'll call you, okay? All right. Thanks, Darwin. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye. So, sorry, I just got interrupted by the guy that just finished the 4Runner. Anyway, so I got this water pump leak and then the radiator, and it's not covered by warranty. And then he notices that when they replaced the radiator last time, it was at 37,000 miles, and that was after the bumper-to-bumper warranty. So he says, you must have an extended warranty. And I said, well, I thought I did, but I don't remember. I'm so busy with stuff, I can't remember my own name a lot of times. So I said, well, let me call you back. So I called up the dealer where I bought the truck, and they looked it up, and it says, yeah, sure enough, you've got an extended warranty here, bumper to bumper. So just give them this phone number and have them call it, and they'll cover it. And I said, okay. So I called back the other dealership that was closer to my home, and I went back to work, and then they called me an hour later and says, we got a problem, and you know, if you're within 40 miles of the original dealership where the extended warranty was issued, you have to go back to that dealership. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I said, my truck's torn apart right now, and you could just put another radiator in. I've got to have you. So anyway, long story made short, they had to put the water pump in, put the old radiator that has a leak in it back in. Then I have to drive it to the next dealership to have them replace the radiator, which means I've got to drain all the coolant out again, put a new radiator in, so it'll be covered by my warranty, but it saves me $1,000, so of course I'm going to do that. So I'm hammered with all these patients today, and I'm trying to deal with this too. Then I get a call and the 4Runner's done. I'm thinking, oh gosh, well that might be okay. I can't drive my truck, so maybe I'll drive the 4Runner. Well, it's not registered, it's not insured. It's got tires on it that are over 10 years old. So my wife's saying, nah, you're not driving that car. And all the while I'm thinking, okay, I can fix a Cherokee tonight and I can have that car for tomorrow. Well, now, come to find out where I thought the cam position sensor is on that vehicle is not maybe exactly what I thought it was. And parts stores they don't show that part as being replaceable or whatever. So I'm in a cluster because I don't have any time to figure out what it is I need to do to get that car running. So I've got basically 3 vehicles, 2 of them are spares, and none of them work. And meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out how to get a car for my home care day tomorrow without leaving my wife at home without a car. It's been a cluster from the word go. But I'm glad I did it because apparently my powertrain warranty on my truck expires in October. So I mean, if I'd have waited till after that, then it wouldn't have been covered at all and I'd have been really screwed. So I am just, man, and it just seems like every day has been like this. I've got suspension builds I'm doing for people. I've got kids running every which way with important matters in their life that I need to attend to, and my wife, and so, man, not to mention, I haven't even gotten to the other really big problem that's really got me worked up. So my chopper, brand new motor, and I get it back together. I get it. I put it in the bike. It doesn't run. You know, I don't want to fault the guy that built it. Bless his heart. He had a stroke partway through. I think his memory, or his, I don't know, he might have a little challenge that way. But he did a good job on all the really critical things up until this point. And the crank gear was one spline off. So I couldn't get it running. Of course, you guys all know that it was running. Well, then all of a sudden one day, it started popping and banging. It wasn't just like a day or two after I recorded that video for you guys. It started popping and banging. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I got it back home, and I thought it was a coil because it was running on one cylinder, the rear cylinder. The front cylinder was not. I thought it was a coil because it's had that go bad before. And it did have some spark, but it seemed kind of weak to me, so I thought, well, maybe under compression it's not firing. So I waited a few days. I ordered a nice $150 Excel high-performance coil for it, and it's a stinking nightmare to change that thing. It's like 3 hours of all you can do not to lose your mind where it's located. And I got it, in fact, I got up at 1 o'clock in the morning because I just didn't have time any other time. I got up at 1 o'clock in the morning to change that coil, went back to bed at 4, thinking, okay, I'll get a couple hours of sleep, I'll start in the morning, everything will be great. Well, I started up in the morning and it's popping and banging just as bad as it was before I changed the coil. So now the thing's got a new ignition, new coil, new wires, new plugs. It's not that, so I thought, well, I better do a compression test, and front cylinder has no compression. I'm like, you know what that means? That means it's serious. I thought, well, maybe a couple of push rods got tight or something, maybe they weren't, I don't know, there's some process you go through to adjust the push rods, but I questioned myself, and maybe I didn't do it correctly. So I take the valve cover off and I loosen up the push rods. I'm going to recheck them, and the rocker arms do not move. They're seized. So I have to take the rocker shafts off, the rocker stands off, and all of a sudden the valves start to close, and the rocker arms are seized on the rocker shafts, which means I was not getting enough oil to the top of the engine. Well, this motor is a real unique thing, and the gaskets are different. They have communicating oil pathways that are not standard Harley. Well, as I start investigating, I'm following all the pathways of the oil, wondering why it's not getting to the top. And there's a gasket between the cam cover and the case that he didn't put holes in. And the oil goes in through the bottom of the motor, and it goes up some passageways, goes into the cam cover, goes up to the lifters, goes through the push rods to the top end. Well, no oil was getting to the top end all that time I was riding it. So, been devastated over that. And the thing is, the rocker stands, you can't get them anymore. There's zipper heads. The rocker stands are used for pro stock Harley drag bikes. You can't get them. The rocker shafts I can get. The bushings for the rocker arms I can get, and they can be resized and machined. That's all great. But the rocker stands are made out of aluminum, billet aluminum. And I don't know what we're going to do. We might have to bore the holes and press in bushings and resize them. I don't know. But then that happened. So I'm like, man, 3 cars and 1 bike in like a week. And none of them's been cheap fixes. My Harley's probably going to cost $1,000 to repair. It's not a Harley, but my custom chop. The 4Runner has cost me $2,700. My truck hopefully will cost me nothing. And I've been putting money in this Cherokee, trying to stop the bleeding and things like that, doing it myself, but I've still dumped a bunch of money into that, and it's got 202,000 miles. And people say, well, why don't you just sell it and buy something newer? I'm like, you know what, you don't understand, man. I mean, this is a family heirloom. It's 15 years. We get attached to stuff. And I want something cool for him to drive around, you know, when he's going to school and stuff, if I can. Can't always do that, but so I want to try to repair it. Now I got this Jeep, or excuse me, this Toyota 4Runner that was initially for him, that I probably spent more money repairing it than what it's worth, because, you know, I'm used to doing stuff myself. It doesn't cost but very little, and I'm always in a position where I can turn around and sell something and at least break even, give someone a good deal with a good item. But now, because I paid somebody else labor to do it, it's originally thought that was going to be for my son. I don't mind doing that, but so I don't even know what to say other than my life has been pretty much a cluster for it's day in and day out. It's been like this. So that's why you haven't seen any KDX videos. That's why I didn't do a Bad Joke Monday last Monday. I was just sulking in my own misery with that thing. Actually not. I'm a happy guy. I'm not sulking in anybody's misery. It's more I'm just pissed off that anyway. But life is good, but I just want to give you guys an update what the heck's going on. I'm hoping things will calm down a little bit so I can get back. Oh, and by the way, on top of that, I've had suspension builds like crazy, and ones that are necessary to do and ones I've committed to do. And so in your free time, you know, what little free time you have, you're doing that, and that's good because it makes a little money, you know, and you put that away to feed your addiction. So that's kind of where I've been, guys. And I want to sign this bugger off. Throw on some music, go do something fun. Don't listen to my jibber jabber. I'm making no sense here with all this. There's the Cherokee right there. Cute little car. And stay out of this nasty water. But anyway, I gotta get rolling. I gotta figure out what I gotta do to get vehicles tonight. So y'all have a good time. Oh, it's still recording. I thought I was just talking to myself. Oh, you poor things. You know what though? I wouldn't trade my problems for anybody else's problems. Really, seriously, that is the honest to goodness truth. All right, folks, have a good one. I be gone.